Every person here is protesting drinking and driving. It's a fact. Every year, 25,000 people die in drunk driving accidents. It's a senseless tragedy that Simone Rosecrans knows all too well. She lost her daughter, Dee, and her friend, Lisa, when a drunk driver ran into them last year.
At first, I wanted to kill myself, but somehow I put one foot in front of the other, and I lived through this.
Candy Lightner founded the MADD organization, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, 5 years ago when her daughter, Carrie, was killed by a drunk driver. At that time, only 3 people belonged to her group.
We're now talking thousands of people marching across this country to show their involvement and caring about drunk driving.
This is the largest demonstration MADD has ever staged. The goal is to raise money and awareness. The demonstrators
attention to the tragedy of drunk driving. Our Jim Moret was there as the marathon journey got underway here in Los Angeles.
It began here at the steps of City Hall. Candy Lightner, founder of Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, had assembled this crowd for MADD's latest campaign, a cross-country relay walk from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C. The group welcomed the support of Mayor Tom Bradley, both in launching the first leg of their journey and in joining their fight against those who drink and drive.
There is no excuse for it. You can have a good time without getting drunk and then getting behind the wheel of your car. And that's the message we want to deliver across America.
Among the celebrities backing the cause were Henry Winkler, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Kate Jackson. In all, hundreds turned out. And while everyone had their own reasons for being here today, members of MADD all had a similar story to tell.
This is a picture of my family with one person missing. My 16-year-old son, who was killed 5 years ago by a 20-year-old drunk driver. That is the reason I started the Los Angeles chapter.
Still, this coast-to-coast effort focuses on the future rather than the past.
This is to focus on the living. This is a symbol of life. Since 1981, there's been about 5,000 lives saved in alcohol-related crashes, and we'd like to save many more, and we hope that's what this will focus on.
2, 3, okay,
Finally, the walk was underway through the streets of downtown. It's to last nearly 4 months.
In downtown Los Angeles, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers began a coast-to-coast walk to rally a national outcry against unsafe motorists. Nancy Laffey attended today's send-off on the steps of City Hall.
Today we kick off the largest and most exciting program MADD has ever undertaken.
Hundreds of supporters of MADD, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, participated in today's kickoff of their national march. The 4,200-mile walk across America will show their concern for the safety of the American family and pay tribute to victims of alcohol-related crashes. MADD's founder was on hand, as was LA chapter president Barbara Blumberg.
This is a picture of my family with one person missing, my 16-year-old son, who was killed 5 years ago by a 20-year-old drunk driver. That is the reason I started the Los Angeles chapter.
Symbolic of the national event is the Declaration of Caring, a scroll which will be carried across the country and signed by participants. Mayor Bradley praised the group's efforts.
Far too many families have suffered the tragedy of having loved ones either maimed, injured, or killed by drunk drivers. There is no excuse for it.
Many celebrities were on hand to lend their support. Henry Winkler, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Kate Jackson were among them. After the ceremonies, the walk began down the steps of LA City Hall and down Spring Street, with police on motorcycles leading the way. The walk is the beginning of a 4-month journey through the streets of the U.S., alerting the public to the dangers of drunk and drugged drivers. The National March of MADD will be passing through 15 states before arriving at its final destination on December 9th in Washington, D.C. A candlelight vigil will be held on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, and all of this will coincide with National Drunk Driving Awareness Week. In downtown L.A., Nancy Laffey, Channel 5, News at 10.
And further evidence of the problem, in Lincoln Heights, a suspected drunk driver was responsible for a head-on